Imagine this, you're scrolling through your phone, everything's normal, and then suddenly the ground beneath you starts to tremble. Not just a little shake, but a deep, powerful rumble that grows stronger by the second. This isn't just any earthquake. Deep beneath Yellowstone National Park, a giant has awakened. For tens of thousands of years, a massive chamber of magma has been brewing under the park's beautiful geysers and hot springs. Now that pressure has become too much. In an instant, a colossal explosion tears through the Earth's crust, launching rock, ash, and gas miles into the sky. This is the start of a Yellowstone super eruption. The initial blast would be cataclysmic. It's estimated to be thousands of times more powerful than the Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980. The immediate area, for hundreds of miles around, would be instantly obliterated by pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of ash and gas moving at hurricane speeds. Nothing could survive this. The shockwave would travel at the speed of sound, leveling buildings and forests in its path. To anyone within this zone, it would be the end of the world as they know it. But the eruption's reach extends far beyond the blast zone. As the eruption column soars into the atmosphere, it carries with it an immense amount of volcanic ash. We're talking about a cloud so vast it would plunge huge swaths of North America into total darkness, day turning into an eerie, perpetual night. Imagine waking up to a world where the sun has vanished, replaced by a sky choked with falling ash. This ash isn't like the soft soot from a campfire. It's made of tiny, sharp particles of rock and volcanic glass. As it falls, it blankets everything in a thick, heavy layer. Within hours, cities like Denver and Salt Lake City could be buried under several feet of it. The weight alone would be enough to collapse most roofs. Roads would become impassable, buried under what is essentially a layer of gray cement. The ash is also incredibly abrasive and corrosive. It would clog and destroy any engine it gets into. Cars, trucks, trains, and especially airplanes would grind to a halt. The entire transportation network of the continent would be paralyzed. Think about it. No more trucks delivering food to your local grocery store. No more planes connecting cities. No more ambulances able to navigate the streets. Society would be frozen in place. Our modern world runs on electricity and communication. The fine, abrasive ash particles would infiltrate power plants and electrical substations, causing widespread short circuits and blackouts. The entire power grid could fail. At the same time, the electromagnetic interference from the eruption and the sheer volume of ash in the atmosphere would disrupt radio signals, satellite communications, and the internet. We would be plunged into a digital darkness as well as a physical one. No phone calls, no internet, no news updates. We'd be cut off, isolated, and in the dark, both literally and figuratively. The initial panic would be global. Even before the physical effects are felt worldwide, the news of the eruption would trigger financial markets to crash. People would rush to stores trying to stock up on food, water, and essential supplies, leading to chaos and shortages almost immediately. The world would watch in horror as an entire continent grapples with an unprecedented disaster. But the most far-reaching and terrifying consequence is yet to come: a volcanic winter. This isn't a normal winter. It's a global phenomenon caused by the eruption itself. Here's how it works in simple terms. The eruption doesn't just spew ash. It also injects massive amounts of sulfur dioxide gas high into the stratosphere, far above the clouds. Up there, the sulfur dioxide mixes with water vapor to form tiny droplets called sulfate aerosols. These aerosols are incredibly effective at reflecting sunlight back into space. Think of it like a giant planetary sunshade being unfurled over the Earth. With less sunlight reaching the surface, global temperatures would begin to plummet. Scientists estimate that a Yellowstone eruption could cause average global temperatures to drop by as much as 10 degrees Celsius, or even more in some regions. This doesn't sound like much, but it would be catastrophic. The cooling effect would last for years, maybe even a decade. Summers could become as cold as winters. This would trigger a chain reaction of devastating consequences for our planet. The first and most immediate impact of this global cooling would be on agriculture. Crops all over the world need a certain amount of sunlight and warmth to grow. With drastically reduced sunlight and freezing temperatures even in summer, growing seasons would be eliminated. Widespread crop failures would be inevitable. Fields of wheat in the Midwest, rice paddies in Asia, cornfields in South America, all would fail. This would lead to a global food crisis on a scale humanity has never witnessed. The food we have in reserves would run out quickly. Famine would spread across the globe, affecting every single country. The intricate global supply chain that we rely on for our food would have already been broken by the initial disaster, compounding the problem. The volcanic winter would also dramatically alter weather patterns. Monsoon seasons, which billions of people rely on for water, could fail. This would lead to severe droughts in some areas, while others might experience non-stop frigid rain. Ecosystems would collapse. Forests would die off, and animal populations, unable to cope with the cold and lack of food, would perish. Our planet's biodiversity would be decimated. So, let's recap the immediate aftermath. We have a massive part of a continent buried under ash, infrastructure completely destroyed, communications and power grids offline, and the world thrown into economic and social chaos. On top of all that, a volcanic winter begins, blocking out the sun, dropping temperatures, and guaranteeing a global famine that could last for years. It's a terrifying scenario, and it's important to remember that this is a very rare event. The probability of it happening in our lifetime is extremely low. But understanding these potential threats is not about fear. It's about appreciating the immense power of our planet and the delicate balance that allows our civilization to thrive. It reminds us of our own vulnerability and the importance of science in monitoring these natural giants. Yellowstone is a place of incredible beauty, but also a reminder of the powerful, untamable forces that lie just beneath our feet. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into what a Yellowstone eruption could mean. It's a heavy topic, but an important one to understand. If you found this video informative, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more content that explores the wonders and powers of our world. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.